Well, hello. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Just waiting for some people to get in here. It's rare that I go live. Worst of all, rare I go live on a Thursday afternoon. But I thought to myself, hey, you know what? Let me get out here and talk to my people. Let me start getting into the habit of um, talking live and letting you guys know what's going on with me. So, what do I want to talk about today? A lot of stuff. One second. So, I want to talk about mainly the role of a business analyst. As you can see from my name of my channel, Karaleise Business Analyst Training. So, I am Karaleise, and I teach people how to start a career as a business analyst, especially here in the US. But I have people I help from all over the world. Um, I have a very vibrant community on YouTube. I spend most of my time on YouTube. So I have a vibrant community on YouTube. We're only like 30,000 strong on YouTube. But I tell you, I have some of the best people on YouTube. They support me. They're always sending me emails. They try to keep up with me. So I'm very happy with my followers over there, and I'm looking to also have good interaction with the followers on the other channels as well. So thank you all for all of your support. So a little bit about me, right? So as I just told you, my name is Karaleise. I am Jamaican. So I was born and raised in Jamaica, and I grew up in a very um, like a village, kind of like a poor neighborhood. But I never felt like that was where I was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like as I was growing up, my mom always said, "You act like you're rich." She always said that because I never acclimatized to my environment. It was always like there was something bigger I had to accomplish. Eventually, I was very good in school. I was always like a little nerdy kid. I'll tell you, where we lived, we had to walk miles to get to the bus stop from where I used to live when I was back in Jamaica. And we had to cross a river. When I say cross river, I don't mean like rivers that you have boats on. It's like a stream, but we call it a river, right? But you had stones. There was a bridge, but the bridge was too far away. So I would take the shortcut through the bushes, and then I would go on the stones, step until I get to cross the river, because to go around the formal bridge, you'd have to walk longer. So we crossed the river, and then we had like almost like 3 miles to walk to get to the bus stop, right? And I was very smart growing up as a kid. And in Jamaica at the time, we would take an exam at the end of what we call elementary school, but we take an exam to go to high school. And you could choose the school that you wanted to go, but you had to make the grade. It's almost like going to college these days, where you had to choose which college you want to go to, but we had that at the elementary level. So when I did the exam, I skipped a couple grades because I was just going faster than everybody else in the class. So they skipped me and put me to do the exam faster. So I skipped grades. I was younger when I started high school. And I remember I was so excited because I really wanted to go to one of the bigger schools downtown, right? I wanted to be in the center of the city. I wanted to be where everybody was having success, because I thought success at the time, I was a kid, success meant that you went to a good high school. So I did the work, I studied hard, and I passed the exam. But my mom, God bless her, she was very much into church, and she really wanted to get the support of the people at church. So when I passed, and she went to church and said, "Hey, my daughter passed," and they're like, "What school is she gonna go to?" They told her, "Oh, go to the school nearest to where you live, because it's gonna be easier for you. You can take her to school. It's gonna be easy." But unfortunately for me, the better schools were further away. So my mom, trying to do the right thing for me, she actually chose the school nearest to me, which was not the best school. So I was so distraught. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to go to school? I'm not going to go to the best school. I'm not going to be a success. I'm going to be a failure in life. But you know what? God is so good that I actually went to that school that was country school. And when I was crossing the river, I had to go walk like 3 miles to take the bus to go up to the country, whereas all of my classmates were going down into the city. So they get to be in the city, they get to be in the happenings, they get to be with modern technology and things like that. Whereas I'm going to the country where we're doing farming and we're doing stuff that's like, kind of archaic. So I felt bad. But in retrospect, it has really helped me to form the career that I have now as a business analyst. And it's all of it's coming together. I'm going to teach you and show you how you too can start a career as a business analyst. But it all comes from the root, right? It comes from a root. And I want to give you a little bit of my backstory. So I went to this country school, and then for some strange reason, everybody who was in my year were exceptionally well. They did exceptionally well. When we did our exams, we got lots of high grades, so they would put you in class based on your academia and your abilities, right? So the school was called Oberlin, and you'd spell out the name of the school. And if you're the smartest kid, you'd be in O. If you're not so smart, you'd be in B. So it goes down. So Oberlin, right? So R is kind of like you're not really into the academia. After that, you start doing like not like trade work and stuff like that, because they position you based on your academia, which I think is wrong, because if you put all the people together who are not academically inclined, then they're just not going to grow because nobody in the class is pushing them. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was wrong. But anyway, that's what they were doing back in the day. So now I land in E, which is the third smartest. That's just they just placed you, and then by the second year they moved me right up to O, which was the top class. So in our top class, we had some of the smartest kids I've ever met in my life. And when we went to do our final exams to leave high school to go to college, we all got like exceptional grades. We were recognized by the country. We were just I was in a batch of really, really smart kids. So I learned that even though I was disappointed that I didn't get to go to the school in the country, actually it worked out well, because I met people that really helped me to push myself. Like I was always in competition with the persons at the top, because I was like third smartest, and then I was like, I want to be first, and the first got down to second, and then I was, yeah, I'm gonna beat you. And so we were always competing against each other, and that helped us to really be the best. So that experience, I think, has taught me how things that seem like adversities can actually help you and be good for you. And I've taken that approach in life in everything I've done. And when I left high school, I wanted to go to college. I started college, didn't finish that because I just didn't like how I was being taught, believe it or not. I felt like the school was more about making money. At the college I went to at first was more about making money, and they were nickeling and diming you for everything. You did an exam, you had to pay for the pages that gave you the result. I was like, what is going on here? I don't believe this. So I've always been a person where I see a process that's wrong, and I already see how we could fix it. I didn't know that that was going to lead me to the career that I have now as a business analyst. And I want to teach you how you can become a business analyst too. But some of it has to do with you having this innate sense anyway, but you didn't know that you can garner that and use that in a way that can help you to make more money and to be successful and to work in a field that actually helps you to use those skills to become successful. So all along, when I was going to college, I just never liked the way the college was being run. I went to the classes, I learned, but I felt that there was just it wasn't right. Okay, it wasn't right. It was more like a cult following. People like, oh yeah, go to this college, and they have the T-shirt and they have the jersey, and everybody's feeling happy, and they're paying all this money. But I didn't feel like we were learning as much as we should be learning, and I didn't feel like the school was treating us fairly. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I need to get out of here. But I didn't have the money. I never had the money. At the time, growing up in a poor environment in Jamaica, I never had money. Everything I wanted to do was just ideas, like pie in the sky. I want to do these things, but I have no idea how I'm going to do them. I don't know where the money's going to come from to do it. And my mom, she obviously didn't have the money either. So I said to myself, my goal is to get this degree. At the time, I wanted to do something called History of the Arts because I really liked art and I thought I was creative and it was my passion. I want to do all this stuff. And my classmate said to me, "What are you going to do with that when you finish? What is that degree going to give you?" And it's something I want to highlight as a cautionary tale to those of you with kids going to college, or if you're going to college yourself. Do something practical that you can use. These liberal arts degrees, leave them alone, okay? These degrees that you're doing some fancy, leave it alone. Do something practical that there are jobs out here for you, because you're going to frustrate yourself trying to make sense of your life when you've spent all this money in a degree that doesn't have any utility in the real world. Don't do gender studies, okay? It doesn't just some of these careers don't make any sense, okay? I want to teach you about a career that does, and that is a business analyst career, and I'm getting to that. So going to college, I didn't like the school. It was a good school. Everybody in the country knows the school, but I just didn't feel like I was getting the proper training that I wanted to get. And I decided I'm going to learn. I'm going to go to an international school, and I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not paying for it because I don't have the money anyway. So I'm full of determination. So I remember going to this. There's a part of our country that has all the embassies for every single other country that's in our, like has an embassy in our country. And I went to every single one of them and asked them, "Hey, do you have a scholarship? Do you have a program? Do you have something for me to use to be able to study in your country?" I went to Mexico. I went to Spain. I went to Portugal. I went to um, Cuba. I went to Russia. I went to all of them and said, "Hey, if you have an embassy in my country, what are you doing for our people? Is there any program that I can benefit from?" Because I already know how the academics. I wasn't worried about if I could figure it out, if I could like pass whatever test. That's not a problem because I got that covered. I just want to know what are the steps I need to take to be able to get a scholarship. I applied to Canada. I applied to some colleges in the US. I got through to the ones in the US, but they gave me only a half scholarship and I had to fund the other half, and I couldn't fund any of it. So I'm like, that's not going to work. I want the whole thing. And I eventually got scholarship that would pay for not only my accommodation, it paid for my books, it paid for my tuition, it paid for my airfare, but God. Okay? But God. Because when I come from an environment where I don't have the support and there isn't anybody who's ever done it, I realize I cannot rely on any advice from anybody I know because they have never done it. I couldn't ask my mom; she's never done this, right? And me having gone to a country school where I thought I would be disadvantaged, but instead I met people who were in a country school that was doing better than the kids in the town school. I met people who were so good at what they were doing. I was so energized. I was so motivated. I thought about, oh my goodness, I thought this was going to be the worst thing ever, but it turned out to be the best thing ever. And so from that young experience early in life, I realized there's no limits to what I can do, regardless of my environment. So I decided I'm going to go to college. And I'm going to go to college and I won't pay a dollar for it. And I got the scholarship. It took some time going through embassy after embassy, being told no and no and no, we don't have anything, and all these requirements that you couldn't meet. Till I eventually got one that said yes. And it wasn't fun. Jamaica is hot. I'm Jamaican. If you're just joining, I'm Jamaican. Jamaica is hot. Okay, hot. And walking in that heat, going, because I didn't have a car. What car? Walking in the heat, sun busting me, and by the way, I sweat a lot. And right now I'm drinking my green juice because my mom is here with me right now, and she told me I need to be healthy, and I'm like, I agree. And so we have this juice, and she said, "I'm gonna make you some green juice," and I said, "Okay, thank you, mom." So I'm being cared for right now. That in this we have cucumber, apple, green apple, mint, ginger, just all kinds of good stuff. So I feel very energized right now. I'm talking to you. So I walked in the heat, sweat busted me. You see me sweating. When I go into the embassies, I have to stop and calm myself down and go to the bathroom and get myself together. And by the way, when I was going to get these to ask for these scholarships, I was fully dressed in my work outfit, jackets, and looking like I'm a professional. I didn't have a job. What job? But I looked the part. Okay. So I went there and I asked, and eventually somebody said no. A counselor said no, and I went there. They gave me tuition, accommodation. They gave me the books. They gave me airfare, and they gave me stipend. So I had money in my pocket to spend. So I did my entire bachelor's degree on the dime of another government. All right. And then when I came back to Jamaica, I didn't know what to do with my degree because I eventually did computer science. It's called informatics engineering, what I did. And it was great. I loved it. I excelled at it. I was good. Again, I don't have any problem when it comes to academia. I've always been a smart kid. But what I learned in college didn't directly translate to what was being done in the field. And a lot of people think for you to start your career, you have to know somebody. Like in our countries, if you're an immigrant, you know that in our countries, sometimes it's very difficult to get into a big company. At the time, people were advertising jobs in the newspapers. And this wasn't that long ago. This is like 2010. Okay. So don't think I'm like an ancient person. Just that's just how people advertised back then, right? So, you know, we didn't have a start. We didn't have anybody to nepotize for us. We didn't have anything. So what we did to get our career started was we updated our resume. Updated our resume. Went out there. Now the good thing about me is that for some reason I've always landed into banking. I don't know why. For some reason I always landed into banking. So what happened was I was able to land an internship for um, a wealth management company, but I was in tech support. So I would help them with any little tech support issue that they have. But it was something I could do every year because I would come back every year to Jamaica and I would spend time with my family. And at that time, I would also do this internship, and that was good. So every year they were used to me coming during the summertime, and so I built a relationship with them. And the idea was when I finished college, then I would work for them. But unfortunately, by the time I finished college, the company was dissolved. The leadership left. They folded up the company and they went elsewhere. So there wasn't the opportunity there at the end of it. So when I finished my college, I didn't really know what to do with my degree because even though I learned a lot and I had good grades, that didn't translate into having the experience to start the job. And this is where most of you are at, where even if you've gone to college, and for the people who are about to graduate, this is what you're going to face. Even if you've gone to college and you have this degree now, you have this piece of paper now. Okay, now what do you do with it? Okay, how do you translate that into an interview? How do you convince somebody to give you the job when you have no experience? And how do you get the experience that they're asking for? It's a chicken and egg. I don't have experience, so you won't hire me. But if you don't hire me, I don't get the experience. And this is a problem from the age, from the dawn of time, from the dawn of us going to work like this. Because by the way, we shouldn't be working in this way. This is not how God made us to live, right? So we're working outside of the confines of what God created us to do. But anyway, this is the world we're in right now. And so everybody finds themselves with this problem. So what people are doing, because they don't have experience and they need the experience to get the job, they are shortcutting this by just lying. Just lie. You want experience? Okay, I'll give you experience. And you just make up some stuff, put on a resume, and send it out there and just try to see if they could make it work that way because you're frustrated. Because you need a job. Because you need the money. You have the education. You spent all this money in college. You went to all these classes. They sold you a lie and told you that if you go to college, you're going to get these jobs. And then you go to college, you come out, you can't get a job. And you have bills to pay. What are you supposed to do? So people just shortcut this problem by lying, coming up with a fake resume and putting it out there. And with tools like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, all of these other tools, it's even easier to come up with a fake resume, send it out, and that's it. Now, it would be great if the resume was all you needed to get the job. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, it's not. You still have to get through the interview. You still have to get through the questions. So what I did when I left college, I had the same problem. I would look through the newspaper That was equivalent to your LinkedIn right now, because back in Jamaica, that was still a thing. It's still a thing today. People still read the paper religiously today in Jamaica. So yes, we have internet. We just read the paper too. Right now I live in Atlanta, and obviously, the US has a different take on papers. But I would look through the classified ads and I would apply. And some of those applications went nowhere. So when you guys are out here applying and you're like, I'm applying, I'm putting up 150 applications and nobody's reaching back out to me, it's the norm. It's how it is. You just have to set the expectation that you're going to have to put a lot of volume out to get one call. The volume can vary. Could be that you put out 10, you get one call, or you put out 20 to get one call, or you put out 100 and don't get no call. You got to put out 250. It's just the nature of the environment that we're in. So don't be frustrated and don't be discouraged because you're not getting a job at the rate that you want. I know people who are in the job market for 2 years. It's not fun. It's not nice, but that's the reality of the situation. You will eventually get a job. That I can promise you. And with my help, with some of the tools and the systems and the programs that I have, I can actually give you a way to shortcut the process. And actually, when you do get in front of an interviewer, to make sure that you can provide the value that would make them choose you. Or if you already have a job and you're new to the field and you need some support, I also have programs for that as well. But when I left college, same problem I had to solve for. Who gonna give me a job? I don't know nobody. Who gonna take a chance on me? So sometimes you have to transition into the role, right? So sometimes you have to take a contract job. A lot of people don't want to take a contract job because they want a full-time job, they want all the benefits. I understand. But sometimes you have to take a contract job because that's how they start the hiring process. If they have the ability to hire you into a full-time role, is even better. But even if they don't, if you take a contract job that's going to be for 3 months or 6 months, you typically are asked to provide a specific thing for this contract. So if you're hired as a BA, you want to provide a particular deliverable, and that's all they want from you. And so you don't have to be distracted with all the other things that come with a full-time employee, like the meetings and all the other things that can distract you, right? So you just have laser focus, you get it done, you get your money out. And if you're getting a contract job, you can have a higher rate because they typically don't provide like the health care and all the other things that a full-time employee gets. So you're getting less benefits, but you can actually make more per hour because of the rate that you use. So you just have to think about it practically. Now, obviously, when the contract ends, it's a fight to get the next contract. If you have a situation where you have a family, you have a husband, you have support that you're not going to be dire in between contracts, then fine, go ahead and do that. Sometimes it's just getting some experience under your belt. So for me, when I left college and I didn't know where to go, I didn't even know what the field was I was supposed to be in because I wrote code. I was writing code for a while and I just didn't want to keep doing that. I didn't feel like this was going to be it for me. I didn't, because as soon as I learned a language, they changed the language. As soon as I get used to the technology, something new came up and it was just constant learning, which I don't mind learning, but to be in a production level environment where you're constantly having to adapt, it was just a lot. And I just didn't want to do that forever. So eventually what I did, um, my computer is dying. I hope you guys can still see me. Hold on, guys. Okay, there we go. I probably have to touch it. So eventually what I did was I took a contract job um, for for a company that was in pharmaceutical, and I was helping them with IT related stuff, right? And I was doing that for a while. It was very fun because I only had to work a certain hours, and I had more free time than other people. And it was an international company, so I got a full like what my friends would make for the whole day is what I would make for half a day, right? So I was really happy with my salary and with the demand, so I started with that, and then I found out about this role called business analyst. And I was like, what is that? It just doesn't sound like something you know what it is. Like, what's a business analyst? Do you like analyze businesses? Like, what do you do? What is this thing? So I saw this role and I was like, okay, I don't know, but the job description looked like something I probably could do. And again, I'm not afraid of taking on new challenges because I think I'm smart enough to do it. I'll learn it and I'll do it. So I applied for this job and it was with a mortgage company. And lo and behold, they called me. And this is a lesson that sometimes you see these jobs and you're like, I don't even know if I can do it. I don't have the experience. I don't know these tools. And you eliminate yourself from the get-go, which you don't need to do that. If you read the job description and there are some things in there that you know you can do, other things maybe you can't do because it needs specialized skill, okay, fine. But if it's something that you think you can do it, try it. Don't eliminate yourself from the application process. Go in and then you learn what kind of. So some people just, they're so scared, they don't even make the first attempt. You don't even put your hat in the ring. You eliminate yourself, I don't know this, and you move on. No, don't have that mindset. You want to get into jobs that you're likely to get, but at the same time, um, you want to make sure that you don't eliminate yourself because you don't meet every single criteria. You have to check off every single box. As long as you can check some of the boxes off and you feel fairly confident that you can learn the rest, go apply. You know what I'm saying? Apply. So I applied. I got into the interview. Um, at first, actually, let me go back. The job wasn't a business analyst. The job was an IT support. That's actually what it was because I was doing that before for the contract job. So now I was like, okay, I want a full time, and I applied. That's what actually happened. So brain's getting foggy, you know. So anyway, I went in for the interview, did the interview, and they told me, they'd call me back or whatever. So I went back. Okay, I was waiting on them. Still have my little part time job, my money coming in, feeling good about that. And then they called me back. And when they called me back, I was surprised, and they said, okay, we want you to come in for for like a second interview or whatever. I came in for the second interview. I did that. And then they called me back again. And this time they told me they wanted to make a different offer. So I went to get the IT support role. And they said, actually, we think that you'd be better as a business analyst. And I was like, what is a business? In my head, I was like, what the hell is a business? But they already had the offer. They had the price was right. This was a big mortgage company that I wanted to work for anyway. They had a good culture. I knew about them before. I had an account with them even before I wanted to work with them. So I knew them very well. I was like, I don't care what they offer me. I don't care where they put me. That I want to work for them. So I got the job. I had no idea what it was. No idea what a business analyst was. And I got in, and lo and behold, they were building an online banking application, and they wanted a BA to work on that. So I quickly had to learn a lot of things, right? I'm coming out of the world of writing code and getting into the world of telling the coders what to write. So, what is a business analyst? All of that was to say this: a business analyst is a person who is instrumental in change. They help to manage a change of the organization. There could be a change in your process, could be a change with your software, could be a change in anywhere. We help to manage that change with the right documentation. We're the ones who talk to the people in the offices or we call them stakeholders, but we talk with other people to understand what the business needs are. And then we document that change and we communicate that with the relevant parties who can help to implement the change. So many of the times, or most of the time, we're working with software development teams where we're helping them to understand what the business needs and for them to go off and build it. So you might think, why do we need somebody to do that? Like, duh, if they need a change, just go and build it. Why do you need somebody as a BA? Because unfortunately, the people who are very technical, who are software developers, they're deep down in the code. They're into like code world and technical world, and they often cannot communicate clearly to the business. The business don't care about what JavaScript you're going to write. The business don't care about whether it's going to be on this server or that server. We don't care. We want to know the outcome. When you're done with all what you have to do, are we going to get the outcome that we want? Are my customers going to be able to log in directly? Are my customers going to have to use single sign-on? Are my customers going to be able to see the screen? Like, what is the end goal or the objective that the business wants to accomplish? And you, as a BA, will be able to understand that from the business, and then you work with the technical team to make sure they're building it the right way, or they're building it to match what the business wants. And the way you accomplish that, as a business analyst, we write documentation, we hold refinement sessions, we discuss with the team, we try to get the clarification, we go back and forth between the technical people and the business. That's what we do. And it's a career that you can do too. It's a career that's in tech without having to be technical. It's a career in tech without having to write code. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to get my computer to not go dead every so often. Sorry about that. Yeah, I get frozen if it doesn't. I'm going to try to remember to move the mouse a bit. So it's a career in tech that you don't have to be technical. It's a career in tech that you probably already have the skills to do. You can communicate, right? You can talk to business people, right? You can facilitate a meeting, right? You don't have to write the code. You don't have to be the one out here testing, getting connected to different API systems and testing and doing that. You don't need to do that. You just need to be able to communicate clearly between the different teams and make sure everybody's understanding what they need to do. You just need to be able to write well. You can write, right? I'm sure you can. So you can start in tech without having to do all of these courses on writing, JavaScript and CSS and HTML and all of these backend languages. All of these things, you don't need to do them. You can do front end, back end. You don't need to do that. You don't need to be a mobile developer. You don't need to write code at all. Don't need to touch code at all. But yet you work in tech. You get a good tech salary. In the US, it's over 6 figures, which is a good salary, right? In the UK, I think it's like 50 or 60,000 pounds a year or something like that as a beginner. And across the world, there's different prices, obviously. But it's a role in tech where you get to be very instrumental and you can influence the direction of the software tools that the company is using and also the direction of the processes that they have. Let's say we have a process that's inaccurate and inefficient. You come in and you say, okay, you study what they're doing right now, and you say, okay, the better way to do it is to do this and to do that. That's what a business analyst does. And I'm sure that a lot of you work in admin, you can be a BA. There are lots of roles today that you're garnering business analysis skills already that you can transition into a BA role and you can make more money. So, for example, if you're working in customer service, you can be a BA because you're talking to people. We call that eliciting requirements, is what we call it. Talking to people, asking what they're looking to do, finding out from them their needs, and then being able to match them to the right product. You're already doing some of it. If you're working in tech support, where you have to listen to people complain about stuff and then you have to figure out the best way to solve it and try to help them, you can be a BA. You can also be a QA, actually, because you're good at troubleshooting if you're doing that. If you're doing CNA, I've seen people who are in nursing. There's a healthcare sector for BA too. So healthcare BA, people who work on software solutions for the healthcare industry. If you're into insurance with all the claims, all the stuff that you have to manage, you can always translate that into BA. There's so many things that you're already doing that would be much better done in the role of a BA. You can use the skills and actually get more money. So how do you become a business analyst? So for me, when I first got that job, I had no idea. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. I made so many mistakes. I won't even tell you them right now. We're building online banking. You make mistakes and there's a lot of problems, okay? So I made a lot of mistakes. There were some times that I thought that I had a better idea than what we were building, and I went up ahead and did some testing of stuff that I shouldn't be doing. I did a lot of crazy stuff, but it was all useful for me to learn so I can come and tell you and you don't have to go through that pain. So becoming my first BA was in this mortgage company, and I thoroughly loved it. When I tell you I love that job, I love that. The people were amazing. The leadership was amazing. At the time, I think Usain Bolt, I'm Jamaican, so I'm going to talk about my Jamaican people. Usain Bolt was running one of the time when I was there. I think it was 2012. Yeah. And we had, whenever he's running, we would literally shut the whole place down. I mean, people in the branches could still go and do transactions, but we who work in the back office, oh my God, we would shut the whole place down. We go to the CEO's office. The CEO had a beautiful, big, wonderful office with a nice view of the city of Kingston. We go to his office and we'll be watching the game on his TV. So imagine we're all at work. You should be working, right? You're paid to work, but the company is just so cool that you say it's running. We agree that we all need to stop working because we got to go watch this race. It's only going to be 9 seconds anyway. So we go and watch, and Lucy would win, and we'd be like partying in his office. And he'd go, and he has a cabinet full of like liquor, like really strong liquor. And he would go, and he's like, "Carly, what do you want?" Me, I love girly girl drinks. I would have like a Moscato or something simple, and the guys would be having like real liquor. So this is in the middle of the day. This is like daytime. You know what I'm saying? So we would do that. We were such a fun company. We would have outings to the beach because obviously we're Jamaican, so we love to go to the beach. We'd all take the company take you all to the beach, and we would have you could bring your friends and your family and your spouse and your kids. It would be a big day for everybody. They would have the biggest entertainers, and we had Beanie Man and all of these big entertainers would come and perform for us. And the company's experience, we did so much fun, cool things. We would go to a hotel as a company and stay the weekend because the company had shares in that hotel chain, and we'd go there and spend the weekend and just live in an all inclusive for the whole weekend. We did so much cool things together. We had culture. When I say we had culture, we had culture. We would go, we would have like for Valentine's Day, we would have a big courtyard. We would have food and catering, and we bring your friends and your family and your spouse, and we'd have entertainers come in and sing to us and give a Valentine's Day treat. Like Valentine's Day is not even a thing for you to really celebrate, but we would celebrate it like it was a big party. Christmas time, you'd be getting like two whole chickens, chickens and wine, and they gave you stuff to go home with, plus a Christmas bonus. And listen, I thoroughly enjoyed that job. But it came to a point when I was like, okay, even though I'm doing well, I'm getting this job, I'm having this money, it's great. But I wanted to do my master's degree. I really wanted to do that because I felt like, even though I'm accomplishing a lot, I still want to get my education to the level where, I'm always keeping myself at the top. So I said I'm going to do my degree. And again, I didn't want to I didn't know where I was going to do it. I didn't even know what I was going to do it in. I thought computer science made sense. And this time I was able to get another scholarship to study in another country for free. They paid for my travel, they paid for my accommodation, and this time my accommodation, top notch, top tier. Okay, I got a nice apartment. I got stipend, which was real good. You know what I'm saying? Real good. I got food, not food. I got, yeah, there's food because the college had a cafeteria and you could just get a ticket and you could get lunch and dinner and so on. So food was accounted for, but you got a stipend to buy stuff on the street if you didn't want to get the cafeteria food. But the food was really good. I had no problem with it. Accommodation, flight, and they even paid for my flight to come back home in the holidays. So I got everything. I got everything. And the college was great, high quality education. I got all of that. And then when I was finishing, by this time I met someone. I met someone when I was in Jamaica, and I had told him, I had broken up with him, actually. I broke up with him because I told him we were dating, and I was telling him, hey, um, I'm going to go study, and it's going to be a different country. So it does make sense for you to be here, and I'm over there, a different part of the world, different time zone, everything. I don't want to hold you down. I don't want to hold you back. And I'm going to be there for a couple of years. So that's it. And this guy, oh my God, he was so lovely. He said, oh, you're so special. And I don't really want us to break up. And I will wait for you and all of this stuff. So he did. He waited for me to finish my master's degree. And when I was done, we got married. And then he lived in Atlanta. And that's why I ended up here in Atlanta. That is how I ended up here. I'm divorced now, by the way, but that's how I ended up here in Atlanta. And then we had a child, and then we eventually fell apart and we got divorced and all that. But it was nice of him. He even came to my graduation when I was away in a different country, and he was very nice. He stuck around. He was a good man, very good man. We divorced for other reasons, but I would always be happy that that happened. So when I finished my degree, and by the way, they offered for me to do a PhD. But at the time when I finished my master, they said, "Okay, we want to keep you, do a PhD. We'll pay for you to stay and do the PhD and all that." And I was like, "Oh my God!" By this time, I was married, and the guy already waited for me, and I was like, "I'm gonna ask him to wait another 5 years for a PhD." I didn't have the nerve to actually say to my husband at the time, "Hey, baby, yeah, I know. You know, I told you when I'm done with the masters, that will be it. I'm going to do family now. We're going to have a family. We're going to live together. Hey, that's going to change because look, they're offering me to stay and they offered me to pay for everything. And yeah, I couldn't do it. I didn't do it. I was like, nah, this is not fair. So I declined the PhD offer, which right now I regret doing that. I declined the PhD offer and I came home and I decided to be a stay home wife and take care of my husband and my family and have a daughter. Now, the funny thing is, it's odd when you have accomplished all of this education and you know your capability as a woman and you decide to not use any of your knowledge and to spend all your time changing diapers. To have a master's degree, to be capable of building complex software systems, because I did an engineering master's as well. And then when I finished that, immediately after I finished that, I came home to be a stay home mom. But I actually liked it. I kid you not. I liked my time as a stay home mom. I liked taking care of my family. I liked taking care of my husband. I liked coming home and having dinner on the table. I liked decorating. Yeah. So I would, I was home. He was the only person working. I was home all the time. And when I tell you, I had like flowers and all kinds of stuff. I got into a thing one time where I just didn't want to use anything artificial because at the time I was pregnant too. And I wanted to keep everything that was like fake away from me and my daughter. I don't want to influence or affect my baby anyway. So I've been making some of these things, green juice. Like I told you, my mom made this one. This is a um, cucumber and green apples, ginger, lemon, and mint. So I would be making all kind of green juices because I want to be healthy. I want my baby to be healthy. Okay. And when I'm cleaning the bathroom and cleaning the house, I don't want to use any harsh chemicals. So I would be looking for recipes of how to make homemade cleaning agents. I did so much homemade stuff. Man, but I liked it. I really do. I feel like as a professional woman, I don't have to give up the fact that I like being a homemaker for being a professional person. I actually can do both. And I like both. And I respect both. The people who decide to stay home and take care of their family, they're doing God's work. They are doing God's work. And the people who go out there and make a living in the corporate world, you guys are doing God's work, myself included, doing God's work too. Because it ain't no fun and it ain't no joke to be able to put this hat on to be the leader, go to work, run these meetings, run these sessions, get everybody aligned. And then when you're done with that, your day doesn't end. Most men, they go home and they can go sleep or they can have their wife take care of them and they're fun. They're having fun, right? They're enjoying their life. When you as a woman finish working, you go home to take on a different hat. Now you become wife. Now you become mom. Now you got to take care of the kids. Now you got to take care of the house. So you never stop working. You never stop. It's always a difficult thing. And so if we have it hard as women, I don't know. People say that we chose this. We didn't choose this. There's no other choice right now. You have to work to make the ends meet in this economy. So a lot of people don't have the luxury of being a stay-home mom anymore. I had that. So I was able to stay home with my baby for like 9 months, which was great. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed before I gave birth to my baby, being home and taking care of my husband and the house. I enjoyed all of that. But at some point, I wanted to get back into the mix. So after I left college, came home, did housewife things for a few years, and then I was ready to get back in because not only was it, I think I'd spent enough time like in that role, and it was a couple of years. Yeah, I'm ready to use the knowledge I gained from my university. I'm ready for that. I gave you years of my life where I just didn't do anything else but home care, homemaking. Now I'm ready to go be an executive. Yeah, that was fine. That's not the reason we got divorced. We got divorced for other reasons, more like meddling. A lot of meddling from the family. I give you an advice. Any man that you marry or you're with that his mother is very involved in his life, you probably need to rethink that relationship. Okay? I'm not going to say any more about that. But my situation was very much deep with the in-laws. In-laws were in everything. Right? In-laws were just like making your life a living hell. So, you love your in-laws, you love your mom so much, go live with her, stay with her. Just you all make a life together. I'll be over here. So that's what happened. We had in-law issues. We loved each other. We had great communication, great everything. This was a good man, but his mom and his family would just not leave him alone to make decisions that he needs to make as a man, and he didn't have the strength to make the decisions as well. So we ended up getting divorced, which actually worked out better for me. It worked out well. Everything now in retrospect, everything that I thought was a bad thing has worked out for my good. So I'm going to encourage you. If you're going through some things right now and you're thinking to yourself, why is this happening to me? It's only to make you stronger. Like a seed has to be buried for it to grow. You have to be in the dark, covered over with dirt before your little branches your little, seedlings can start growing up. When you're in the dirt, it feels hard. When I went through my divorce, oh my goodness, this thing is gonna keep timing out on you guys. Next time I'll try not to use my computer. It's back. Sorry guys. Thank you for waiting. I'm gonna have to remember to keep touching my screen. I'll use my phone next time. But what I have to say is you have to be buried for you to grow. You have to be in the dark. God has to take you some through some tough things. Like I don't know if you guys watch this movie that's out on Amazon called House of David. I'm religious, so I like to watch these religious movies. And I was so impressed with the portrayal of David in that movie, House of David. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's so impressive. They did stray a little bit from the Bible, the biblical text, but it's enough to be okay. But the last episode, episode 8, is where the giant was down there like, I defy the armies of God. And little David, little self, says, who is this uncircumcised Philistine to defy the armies of God? Like, who are you? It's not about how big the problem is. It's about how big God is. And that stuck with me because that's been kind of the motto of my life for so far. Like there's been so many big problems. I thought, oh my God. Because by the time my marriage was falling apart and I had a young baby, and I was thinking to myself, I'm getting back into the career. I want to get back into this role that I was working in and I know how to do so well. And getting a first job, I went through a lot of heartache, right? One, imagine trying to do an interview with a young baby because my husband's at work. I don't have any family here in Atlanta. I got to do this interview. The baby's crying in the background. That's not fun, Or at the time, we were still physically going into the office. So you had to find a babysitter or you had to find somewhere to leave the kid to go. It wasn't always that easy. So getting to the interview was itself a challenge, and also just knowing what to say because I've never had a job in the US at this time, and I didn't know how different the interviewing processes was going to be and what they expect and not expect. And I would hear people tell me, other immigrants would tell me, don't mention that you have a baby because you won't get the job. Don't mention that you haven't worked in the US before, that all of your experiences back home in your own country, they're not going to want to hire you. All kinds of stuff I was told that had nothing to do with anything. Actually, it was the opposite. By telling them the truth, I actually got the job faster than trying to hide it, right? So that's another advice I give you to, you don't have to hide your background. You can't hide anyway. Like if you hear me speak, I sound different, right? You may not be able to pinpoint where I'm from, but it's not the US. I'm Jamaican and I can't hide that I was in Jamaica, right? So it doesn't make any sense to try to hide because you can be found out. So go boldly with the truth and don't be intimidated by this uncircumcised Philistine, which is the lack of having a job. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel like there are other people who are better than you. You are the best. You have the knowledge. You too can do it. Other people have done it. Why not you? Other people are earning this money. Why not you? You can do it too, right? So I finally got into an interview, and I have a video on my YouTube channel that talks about the interview and how I went through that interview process. Eventually, I got a job and I started working. And you know what? The job was in banking again. So everything I'm doing, I just always end up in the banking domain somehow. So I get into that job, I do well, got into a couple of startups. Some of the startups got bought out, some of them got laid off. We did went to a whole bunch of things. And then eventually I'm still working in the field, but I've been able to kind of pivot between being a business analyst, a product owner, a product manager, and now the role that I have, which is kind of a mix of all of them. So, with that long backstory, what's the point of all this? I want to just talk about the fact that you can start your career as a business analyst as well. You can take on a field that would require you to just be thinking on your feet, be a logical person, work with technical teams, work with the business, understand the initiatives, the goals of the business, have good communication, leverage all of these skills together and use that in a field that would give you the freedom and the ability to influence the next processes, the next features, the next software, all of the different things that your company is going to come up with next. I think that's a valuable thing to do. There is value in work. A lot of people on the internet tell you, oh, don't need to have a job. You're not going to get rich having a job. Go start your own business. And that's fine. You can start your own business too. Or if you already have a business, you can do that too. But what's the danger of having a high paying full time job as well? Eventually, if your business can outdo your full time job, then you leave the business, you leave the full time job alone and you go do your business. But a lot of people have this pie in the sky. They just want to do one thing when sometimes you have to take multiple steps to get there. If you're trying to make one big leap, it's harder to do that than make small little steps until you get to where you want to go. If your dream is to be independent, live a life of freedom, travel wherever you want to go, whenever you want, be able to take care of your family, that's a dream that you probably should have. And this is one of the ways that you can get there. With the business analyst role, not only do you have this kind of influence, but you can work from home. You can try. I have friends who try. I don't know where they are. They'll be like, Carly, you're on the call, they're meeting, they're doing everything they normally do, but they're in Hawaii or they're in the Panama, they're in the Bahamas. They're just wherever they go, they just bring their laptop with them, their vacation and work at the same time. No more work life balance. If that's what you're trying to accomplish, forget it. It's all life. You're just living. And a part of what you're doing while you're living is working, spending time with family, vacationing, having fun, doing work. It's all happening together. So this is one avenue to get to your end goal. Another avenue is having your own business. Another avenue is probably having real estate. Another avenue is having investment. So there's so many things you can do, but don't let people tell you that you shouldn't have a job, because having a job, you never become richer, you never become a millionaire. But you're going to be learning though. You're going to learn skills that you can then use in other things. The point of the job really is to learn, and you to learn, because you're going to be faced with challenges that you would normally be faced with, and you're going to overcome them. And that's why if you're going to have a job, you want to have a job that helps you to really overcome problems and learn good skills. So it's not a job that's repetitive. It's not a job that's mundane. It's not a job. It's a career, really. It's not even a job. It's a career. So you learn something like a business analyst role, that you're solving big problems every day, that you're working with teams every day, that you're prioritizing and analyzing every day. You're building this muscle up here that no matter where you go, you don't have to pay for this. You don't have to pay at the airport taxes on this. There's no tariff. There is no tariff on this. You're building this. You're investing in you. It's the SME 500, not the SMP. So the SME 500 will only go up because once you build the skills, nobody can take it from you. Nobody. That's the point of the job. So I encourage you to get into the field of business analyst. And how do you get started? You get started by learning about what we do and learning about how we solve problems, and then quickly getting into the space to get an interview to get a first job. Now, how do you learn about what we do? I have tons of resources, tons. You can go to karaleise.com, and there you'll see, access to my videos. There is articles. There's all kinds of stuff that can help you just have an overview of the field. It'll answer some of the questions that you have. But if you really want to start learning from scratch, you can go to the backofficeclub.org, and I'm going to put it in the chat. And the backofficeclub.org is our membership program where we teach you how to work in the field. We have stand-ups twice a week. So it's one thing to be learning on your own, right? To be doing the videos and to be just trying to make sense of it all. It's another thing when you have guided help, when you have somebody who knows what they're going, what they're doing, and know where to take you because they've been there before. You don't need to learn. Like, I'll give you an example. I like to listen to podcasters who run businesses because I'm very entrepreneurial, right? I have other businesses that I do. I like to listen to them and like to learn from them. But I found that some of the people I'm listening to, they are like at $100 million in their business, $200 million in their business. I'm, I'm nowhere near that. Nowhere. What I'm doing is like, I'm just doing something because I love it and I'm doing other things. So when you listen to somebody who's so far ahead from where you are, a lot of the advice that they give it's not bad, but it's like I can't actually see how you implement that at my level. So I think it's better for you to learn from somebody who has gone through what you're going through and can relate to it better because they're closer. Like they've passed through the things that you're just trying to solve. If that doesn't make sense. Like I don't want somebody who is so far from where I am that I can't connect with them. So that's why at the back office club, it's great for you because the people there are in the same boat as you. They're trying to start their career. They're trying to get started. They're trying to learn the field. They're trying to make a connection. They're doing all of the stuff that you're trying to do too. Why don't we just come together and do it together? So you're not in a room with other people who are like further along, and then the problems that you have, nobody can even remember what that was like. So we build a community. You can go to the backofficeclub.org, and you'll find there a way to join our membership. We have 3 tiers of membership. The first one is a basic where you join our stand-up. So our stand-up is just a meeting. It's a session. It's for 30 minutes every time. So we have it twice a week. So it's 1 hour for the week. And in the stand-up, you can ask a question. We, like today in our Thursday stand-up, we go through some scenarios that you would have as a BA that you wouldn't be exposed to unless you're in the field. So you can get practice how to think on your feet. We ask you questions. We show you documentation. We train you. We teach you. We expose you to the tools so that you can have a touch point every week to keep yourself engaged. And if you're not working in the field, it might be something that you'd find valuable because it helps to keep you close to it, right? So that's one. And then we have a training that we do once a month where we learn something practical. So you're looking at a design and you have to write stories for the design, or you're learning how to elicit requirements, or you're learning how to deal with stakeholders, you're learning some technique and some skill that we have as a BA that you wouldn't otherwise know, right? So you can join. That's for $49.99 a month. It's not a lot. $49.99 a month, and you can join our live in-person session. So you're not just talking to a computer. You're not just watching a video. You're not just doing a course. There's a person, me, that you can ask a question, that you can get some support, you can get encouraged. That's the first tier. We have other tiers as well. You can go to backofficeclub.org to find out. There's tiers with the tools included. There's tiers with more classes included. So it varies. So go check that out if you want to know how to start. But also, there are other courses out there you can do. You can do a boot camp. There's so many people offering boot camps. You can go to a boot camp, and that will give you like, fundamentals of how to become a BA. And then you can come back to the back office club and you can do our courses. We do have regular courses too. And these courses cover things like working with technical teams, documentation that you need to write, techniques for you to do the job. So everything you need is there. And the good thing about the courses that I offer versus the courses like on Udemy and Coursera, I did a Udemy course because I just want to see what the competition is like. I did a Udemy course and I was like, what in the world is going on here? What I mean by that is it's not that the content is bad. It's just they haven't given you enough to equip you to actually work in the field with that course. It just felt like fluffy information, which was it's nice, it sounds good, but if you don't know anything, it sounds like you learned something. But me, that's been in the field for so long, I know that it's just fluff. What are you going to do? How do you action anything that you taught them in this course? It's not very actionable. I've also done Coursera courses. And what I like about Coursera courses is that typically it's very well delivered. Like they have good aesthetics and they have good camera angles and good lighting and it's really polished. But it's high level. It's high level. And even though sometimes you get even the professionals that come in and give a speech, it's nice, it sounds good, but it's not practical, it's not hands-on. They tell you too much stuff. The stuff that they tell you in the real world, you wouldn't be told. So you haven't developed the skill of how to uncover things because they just give you the answer. Even in a multiple choice question, an answer is provided. You have to just pick the right one, whereas in the real world, you have nothing. So you have to learn how to take nothing and figure it out from scratch. And that's what we do in a practical way in our courses, where we show you the real problem that a real project had for a real company with a real customer. This is real stuff. And then we say, what would you do as a BA? And then you start giving feedback. And it's actually a live class that we recorded. So you hear the feedback from the actual participants and you can start thinking in the way that you need to start thinking. And we walk you through step by step by step by step by step. This is how you take it from here, ambiguity, all the way to the detail here. So you can do a good job because we actually want you to do a good job. I don't want to duplicate myself. I want multiple people like me. I want people who are confident in their career, who are making good salary, who are happy with the way they're able to influence these companies. And I want a lot of us, I want a lot of us doing this and doing it well. That's what I want. Because sometimes I'm in these rooms and I'm the only Black person in there. Yeah, it's not about color. I'm just saying, whatever you're doing something, you want to do to the best of your ability. I believe my courses are some of the best courses out there on business analysis. I would even stretch to say it's better than some of the more known courses out there because everything I do is rooted in real world use cases from real projects and with real problems. And I have real people in the course asking questions and I give them the best answers. So if you have a question, it's more than likely going to be asked in the course and you're going to hear the answer. It's the worst thing if you come to a course and then you leave and you have questions and there's nobody to ask. They send you to like a Facebook group or something, you gotta ask other students, what about the professor? Why that professor can't answer your question? So it's not like that over here. Not only do we have the course to support you and you have quizzes and documentation to download and interactive course, but also you have the stand up. So you can come to the stand up and ask a question as well, live. So it's a big plus for you if you're trying to start. It provides an ecosystem of support. One, you have the online courses. Two, you have the articles. Three, you have the live sessions to ask a live question. and you get the support to help you to feel confident that you can do this job, so that when you show up in the interview, you can do well. And also, I have consultation. So if you need a one-on-one personal consultation, you can book that. That's for like $250, dirt cheap. I mean, people don't like when I use the word cheap. I'm saying it because I'm not here to just, like, I'm probably not going to ever be a rich person because I'm not here for the money. I really want to help you. And so I need you to invest in yourself, though. You got to pay something because I need to show that you're invested in yourself. But as long as you do that, then I'm going to give you all the energy, all the help that I can give you to help you to get here. I want to bring others with me. I want to duplicate myself, as I said earlier. So, oh my goodness, I apologize again. So go to backofficeclub.org to get the courses and the membership. Oh, and I forgot to tell you that there is a 25% discount for the month of April. So for the month of April, you can get a 25% discount on any of our plans that will help you get started as a member. And also, I forgot to say this too. Give me 1 second. For our members for the month of April, all the members who have been with us for more than 3 months, we are giving them our special gifts, which is this book right here. So we have this Back Office Club notebook that we created for our members, and we're going to be giving this away to all of our members. And it comes with the Back Office Club pen that we also are giving it. So we give a lot of things to our members. You get not just my support, you get physical gifts. We love our members so much. We are very invested in their success, and they come, they learn, they practice, they network. And because of that networking, hopefully they're able to really grow in this field. So I encourage you to become a BA, and there's lots of resources out there to become a BA. The backofficeclub.org is one of the better ones, and you get in-person help, you get materials, you get tools, you get documents, you get support. That's the best way that you can get started as a business analyst to earn a six-figure career, change the arc of your career, support your family, and be able to do the things that you've always wanted to do. And if at some point you want to switch and become something else, the skills that you learn as a BA are applicable in almost all parts of life. Your relationship will do better because you know how to hold good meetings and have good communication, right? So you do better in your relationship, you do better in your parenting. It's just a good skill to have. It translates into so many different places. So I would encourage you to look into that if you don't know which career you want to be in. So all right, I've spent enough time with you guys. Would love to spend more, but right now I got to go do something else. So thank you so much for chiming in this Thursday. I look forward to having more lives where I talk about more random things and give you a little bit more insight into my life. And hopefully this was interesting for you, and I hope to see you in the next live. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.